Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. I am Elsa W. Smith, your Maryland estate planning attorney, and I'm the owner of the law offices of Elsa W. Smith, where our mission is to empower women through estate planning. Welcome to Women Winning Wednesdays. The intent of this show, as I always say, is through our guests and educational content to provide you with glimpses of what an empowered woman is and the tools that she needs to win. So again, I'm really excited to have so many of you watching, tuning in. As a reminder, we are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and now LinkedIn. We've added that to the lineup. Um, Give permission to StreamYard to for us to view your comments. And you can do that by visiting StreamYard.com/Facebook. StreamYard.com/Facebook. I'm really excited about the guest that I'm bringing to you today. She's a phenomenal woman. And of course, I only bring you phenomenal women on Women Winning Wednesdays. And today's guest is no exception. She is the one and only Pamela Jackson Sams. She's a financial advisor and she's the owner of Jackson Sams Wealth Strategies. Let me tell you a bit about her. For 19 years, Pamela has been helping women improve their financial and personal wealth through solid financial life planning. Her education and training enables her to help her clients successfully navigate through just a host of financial decisions that they face during their lives. She focuses on helping her clients meet their financial needs and helping them work through the challenges to achieve financial security and greater retirement readiness. Some special things about Pamela's background: she has membership in the $1 Million Roundtable. That is membership in this organization, in this group. It's a highly recognized mark of excellence and limited to only to the most successful in the financial services profession. This places Pamela among the top professionals in the global life insurance and financial services industry. She was also featured in the Women in Wealth section of Fortune magazine, November 2020 issue, as a top wealth manager in the Washington, D.C. metro area. Without further ado, everybody, help me welcome Pamela Jackson Sams. Hi, Pamela,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm doing just fine. I was trying to figure out who you were talking about when you were reading that bio.
I love it. We're like, is she really talking about? Yes, I am absolutely talking about you and all your amazing accomplishments. Welcome to Women Winning Wednesdays. Folks, as you can tell, I'm in different surroundings out in my home office I should say my main office in Annapolis today, thus the different surroundings. But nonetheless, we are here live. We are ready to rock and roll. Um, Pamela, I told the audience a bit about you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about your background and credentials that the audience should know?
Yeah, actually, you kind of hit everything on it. I've been doing this for the last 19 years. And, I think we have shared this story before. I got into this industry really out of helping my mom transition to becoming a widow after my father had passed away in 2001. And so, I had the tools available. I had just completed a financial management MBA background, had two kids back to back in graduate school, figuring I wasn't going to be able to do what I had set out to do, which was do investment. Actually, investment banking, which usually takes about probably 60 to 80 hours a week. And that just wasn't going to happen with two young babies. And so I was just took a sabbatical and just figuring out what my next best step was for that. And then unfortunately, my dad got sick and passed away in September of 2001. And my mother had a really hard time really trying to figure out what my dad had left, trying to deal with finances on her own, especially coming from a generation where men took care of most of the household finances. And so I just stepped in with my MBA in financial management and was really help her direct her where she needs to go. I'm number 7 of 8, so she had plenty of support from our family. But I figured there were other women similar into my mom's situation that may have not had a support of a large family and the direction financially to really move on from that. And so in 2002, I hung out my shingle. In January of 2002, set out for my mission to really help women just like my mom. Most of my clients are single by choice, divorced, and or widowed, really just trying to figure out this whole world of money on their own, but need a trusted guide and an advisor to help them do so.
You've jumped ahead and answered like a couple of other questions I was going to ask you because you're such an achiever, and thank you. You shared that, but that's good because I want the audience to get to know you as a person. Um, you're unique amongst financial advisors. You're known as a behavioral financial advisor.
Mhm.
Could you tell us what that designation means and how you use it to serve your clients?
Yeah, exactly. And I used some of the same tools actually early on in my career, but really got a certification in behavioral financial advisor. It's called the BFA designation. QB was October of 2018. It was 2019, pre-pandemic, really to really look at how people make money decisions. It's all about marrying neuroscience with financial planning, and that's exactly what behavioral financial advice does, is to understand where and how people make their money decisions. So I start a lot of my conversations with potential clients, and actually my clients as well, as what does money really mean to you? How did you grow up with money in the household? How and who helps you make financial decisions? And then what may be holding you back? What may be keeping you stuck financially? And all of that deals with a lot of money mindset and your money personality. So the behavioral financial advice piece really hones in on figuring out what people are like. I do have a minor in psychology undergrad, so I kind of pulled and dust that off to use that along with my financial planning background, really to get to the essence of what keeps women stuck, particularly financially, and that wasn't able to move forward. Because what I found out over the last 19 years is that I can put together a really perfect financial plan, but if there were some things that were preventing people from moving forward, keeping them stuck, I wasn't making any progress, and they weren't making any progress. So I really had to get to the root cause of what may have been some of the issue, and so that's where the behavioral piece comes from. What it does is take your your values, what your values are, what your financial goals are, and then really aligning that with your behavior, understanding how do you make decisions, but the behavior piece. So if you want to retire, 10 years from now, but you're spending loads of money and you're not saving anything, that's not going to happen. So I need to work with my clients as well as curbing some of their behavior and really coming to, a consensus on, do you really want this? That goes back all the way to the values conversation. If you don't want it, then we'll kind of rework your values. But really looking at what I call VGB, which is values, goals, and behaviors. That's kind of what the behavioral financial advice designation.
I'm gonna touch on the mindset piece because I just love talking about mindset, and I think that it's so important in really everything to do. It's the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Before we make important decisions, we have to have the right mindset, and I want to come back to that.
Okay.
But I want to talk a little bit about you before we talk about a little bit about your clients and your practice. What was the journey like for you on the way to becoming a financial advisor and owning your own business?
Mm-hmm.
So a double, two questions.
Exactly. So, I just told you the story on how I got into it. That's I guess the easy part on figuring
Right,
out
but it
what
wasn't. I'm
you
sure
want
it
to do.
wasn't rosy.
But the journey always starts with, how do you acquire clients? How do you get known in the business that you have a business? You hang your shingle out, then you have to have people come to you. So the journey from the beginning was, this is what I set out to do as a mission, to work with women in that area. But I had to take everybody that I could in the beginning because you got to eat when you're growing your business. And so what I decided to do, because it was one of those things, I started my career earlier on with American Express Financial Advisors, now Ameriprise, and it was all about smiling and dialing. So you have to kind of pick up the phone, do a lot of cold calling in the initial stages of that. And like I said before, I had two young children back to back, and I really wanted to be home with my babies. So I had to figure out the best way to make my new career work without having to spend hours on the phone. And I love to educate people, as we've had discussions before, Elsa. And so I started out just doing a lot of workshops and seminars in the area. It was what we called fish bowls. If you can imagine, where you would just put a fish bowl into a restaurant and have people drop their business cards in. You pull a business card out, and you would offer them a free lunch for them in their office. And that's how I did, was really go into a lot of organizations and give presentations, what I call lunch and learn presentations in the beginning. And that's really how I grew my business, was through the seminars, through the lunch and learns, to educate. And then that's how I kind of got into developing more of my business versus cold calling.
Pamela, that's one of the things that I love about you. And I have like a synergy in that we want to educate and empower. Those are the two pillars of my practice. Um, and I know that growing your business, it couldn't have been easy. I know about the lunch and learns, that
Mhm.
been there, done that. But in order to, and we're talking to a lot of women who are listening, a lot of professionals who are listening, and they know that it's hard, trying to juggle family life. You just mentioned that, you have two children, and you had two young children when you were starting, your practice. What kind of support system did you have? And what are a couple, maybe one or two instances where you actually have to flex that and go, hey guys, I need a lifeline?
Exactly, you need to do that. I mean, I have a very supportive husband. Of course, we just celebrated our 32nd wedding anniversary in May. So he was there at the early beginnings, really trying to help me figure all of this out. So definitely a support system there, because there was no way I was going to be able to leave two young kids at home without having my husband there. And then my daughter, she's older, Nicole, and she's between my oldest son and my daughter is about 7 years, so she was able to help out a little bit, with my husband. And then really just having a lot of colleagues there, as you're kind of commiserating together on, maybe you didn't have a really good week, and then really just kind of keeping you going as you are down in the doldrums, just trying to figure out, is this what I should be doing? And really having kind of what I call your girlfriend support system to either commiserate with, also celebrate those wins with you, to really just kind of keep you going, uplift you when you need to, as well. So that's kind of the support system that I had, was early on, was of course my husband, my family, and then that girlfriend support system that I think everybody needs.
That girl tribe, which I treasure. In talking about that, those times, it's not just one instance, those times when, you get exhausted, you're drained, like you said, you may not have a good week and whatnot. What is your why? What is it that drives you? And I think you alluded to it before, but I really just want to hone in and let the audience understand, like, what is it that drives you the way, you are, to do the things that you do?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, really just out of helping, my mom when she became a widow. And, I think, I'm a very spiritual person. So, I use my gifts that I've been given. And if I do not use those gifts, I think I'm, really not fulfilling the divine purpose that I was put here to do, for that. So that's what really kind of keeps me going, is that I know if I don't get up in the morning and I don't get out there and really help people, and actually what I say every morning is, I ask God for guidance. I said, who do I need to help? What do I need to say, and to whom? And that kind of leads to who do I need to? And so if I don't get up in the morning and I don't say that, then I'm really not fulfilling my divine purpose as well. And then there's other people out here who may need me, who will not have the help if I'm not out there. So that what really drives me is really being that support to somebody out here who needs the guidance. And I can't be selfish with it. So I need to keep going.
That segues this into the next question I want to ask you, that, anybody who achieves, a certain level of success, particularly the levels of success that you have, you didn't do it alone. You didn't do it without any kind of guide. Did you and do you have a mentor, and how has that impacted your trajectory?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, early on, I think in any industry, it's really best to get a mentor to be able to pick up the skills a little bit faster, but also give you some guidance on how do you need to approach things. So early on, when I was at American Express, I had an advisor who I just said, "Hey, you're gonna help me." She was it wasn't even voluntarily. I just said, "Hey, we're both in this industry. We're both, Black women, and trying to make it in this financial planning industry. You have it figured out. Can I just kind of hold on to the coattails for a little bit and figure that out?" And we're still good friends to this day as well, because you need somebody who has been there before you, kind of show you what's going on down the river or down the road, on what to expect, but and also kind of hold you up on getting and developing your skills and helping you do that. So I have that, and I have coaches now that will be able to do the same thing. It's not the fact that you reach a certain level and you still need a coach. You look at any industry, golfers or gymnasts or whatever, they have coaches. In order to continue to achieve and get to the next level, you need some guidance there. So I still have mentors, and I still have coaches that help me along the way.
I'll flip it. Do you have an opportunity to be the mentor to anyone?
Exactly. And so I I just love, again, I just love educating and I love helping. So actually, I do have three mentees, and I think since the last time I spoke with you, I added on a fourth one through another through another organization that I belong to. And so, I just love giving back, especially, like I said, women in this industry really need to be a kind of a little tribe on our own and help others achieve the success that I have. So I have those four mentees now that I help out, and we meet on a regular basis. And they're at different points of their careers as well. Some early on, some mid, and then some mature as well. But everybody needs some type of guidance in any of those particular areas, even if you've been in the industry for a while. And I'm sure you feel the same way, Elsa, is that there's some people who have a different spin on things, and also a
Yes.
different viewpoint that will be able to, if you're in it, you don't have that much objectivity. And so you're too close to it. But if you have somebody on the outside looking in, then they will be able to look at it in a different light than you may be able to, and then at least point you in the right direction. Or you like, I never even really thought about that. And so that's what opens it up, is really having somebody else, kind of somebody on the outside looking in.
Absolutely. Are there things that prospective clients should consider, before they have that investment conversation with you? And if you want to describe what your intake process is, feel free.
Exactly. I think it all starts with that money mindset. So I start the conversation, like I said before, with the values discussion. So that's kind of my intake process, is how did you grow up winning? What do you want to achieve? What are your values, and how are they in line with the goals that you want to achieve from there? Because, as I explained before, is that sometimes it's not all about the money. It's really the emotions around it, and what do you want to achieve. So you have to start a little bit further back in the process to see if you're ready. I always ask, we had talked about the mentor question before and the coach question, is that I always ask people is that, are you coachable? It's like, do you, are you able to take instruction? Because sometimes you're going to get some things that you may not hear. So it takes a little bit of self-reflection. I do have the behavioral financial background, but I also do a DISC assessment on some people that go through the process to see where they are. Are we in alignment with our viewpoints? Are they coachable? How do I need to approach them? What type of language that I need to use as well, because certain things resonate. So I got to have a whole communication process that I go to as well, because how do you like to be communicated with? Some people are visual, some people are auditory, and then some people like to be in the weeds. Some people just want the high over level view. So knowing that as a personality, I like to get that up front as well. So in somewhere in the process, that's like, okay, where are we stuck, or what's the problem, what's the friction, I can go back to some of the intake in the beginning on doing some of that up front, so we don't have these things in the internal as we go along.
In what I do in wills and estate planning, a lot of the professionals that become my clients usually are maybe the first or maybe the second in their family to really, have any kind of an estate plan or even just a will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they're kind of like first, maybe second generation. Do you find in your profession that the people that you're encountering, did they have parents who sat them down at the dinner table and said, I want to introduce you to my financial person, when you're, ready to go off to college? Are they having those discussions, or are they just like, look, I'm the first in my family to do well. I need help managing this money. Help me. I mean, where do people fall?
Yeah, I'm getting more of that. But to that extent is that now I'm getting second generations people. So the people who come in go, at some point, especially if I'm dealing with women, they'll introduce me to their daughters. They say, you need to go talk to Pam. You graduated from college. This is your next step with your job. Before you mess it up with not investing in 401k or any of those things, go see a financial advisor. So what I'm getting is first generation now, but I'm getting a lot of the second generation as well from clients who really introduced me to their children. And actually, now that people are also taking care of what I call the sandwich generation, they have the younger kids, but then they also have their parents. I'm getting some parents that they, of my clients, their parents on considerations on what they need to do as well with Medicare or Social Security decisions. So I'm getting a generational situation when I'm dealing with finances. But initially, most of the clients who come in are kind of first generation and figuring out, hey, I'm making money now. I need a financial advisor. Historically, especially in our community, Elsa, is that, most people have the misnomer that you have to have a lot of money in order to have a financial planner. I say it's just the opposite, because if you make poor money decisions going along, that's more costly than if you hired somebody to really kind of effectively tell you the right way to go on that. And so I have programs that are available where I make it really cost effective for people to engage the services of a financial advisor with having to not having to worry about having loads of money in order to do so.
Same thing in my field. And really, estate planning really encompasses financial and planning. It's all a part of it. And what I told people in like videos and presentation is that when we're talking about a comprehensive estate plan, you really need a team of
Mm-hmm.
professionals that are really going to craft a strategy that's going to meet your needs. It's having the estate planning documents in place. It's in creating them with the input of experts like you, in the financial, advisory world, and CPAs and any other professionals, but mainly like those three that I mentioned are the ones that I deal with most often. Um, and yeah, I agree. A lot of people think, oh, well, I don't have enough to have an estate plan. Au contraire,
Yeah.
you absolutely do. And it's about the quality of life while you're here, as well as what you are leaving behind when you're not. Um, what what are some suggestions that you could give the audience? Because we are bombarded with commercials and this, that, and the other on social media about the importance of investing. Yes, we know it's important, but to the person that's just really trying to figure things out, what are good resources? Even but like before they meet with you, before they schedule a time to meet with you, where should they look, and what tips do you have?
Yeah, what I generally say is, you educate yourself first. So there's a lot of resources, podcasts, financial podcasts. Make sure you do follow the ones that give really good advice, not the hot stock stuff, because you don't want to do that. You really want to learn
Market
all of the,
timing.
yeah, exactly. You
No
don't want to
market
get
timing.
in and out and all this, cryptocurrency stuff. That may be something that you can get into maybe a little bit later. That's not where you want to start. And you don't want any just kind of, and you don't want somebody that doesn't know your particular situation, because sometimes these financial gurus work in absolutes where it's like never do this, never do that. They don't know you particularly. That's why it's really good to engage the services of somebody that will take the time to really go through an assessment and learn about you primarily. But it's all about financial education. So, I use a site called Investopedia. I used to do some writing for them. That's a good resource. It's kind of an encyclopedia of different financial terms and strategies. So you can start there. And of course, any financial books are good, but it's really all about educating yourself around money, around financial planning, how money works. I know, Elsa, we've had a conversation is that nobody really learns about money in this country efficiently. We just kind of go from our homes to quasi on our own with college, and then boom, out here in the real world, and nobody's really effectively told you how to manage money. So education comes. I have a lot of financial literacy programs that I have. I do a variety of talks, and I also have a website that I use with my clients to really some good information on just getting you up to speed with financial literacy.
One of the things that I hope to do with my practice and the people that I invite onto the show is everything with the aim of, particularly in our community, changing the generational narrative. And
Mhm.
one of the ways that I believe that we do that is by normalizing some discussions at the dinner
Mhm.
table, normalizing, the financial discussion, saving. Some of our earliest memories of saving are, the piggy bank. I had a piggy bank,
Yeah.
growing up. But,
Mhm.
and the importance of that, it's taking, I have clients who they practice this with their young ones. They take them to the bank and they open up their first, savings account. And that's a part of it. And it's same thing with estate planning. It's not waiting until the family is in crisis to say, oh gee, I think I need a will. Yeah, no, it happens before then, so that you are making positions from a position of power and not of desperation,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
not, risk not having anything in place, and then having the state dictate, what's going to happen to your assets, which is a place where no one wants to be.
No.
But it's got to start as, basic as, like, the family dinner table. Start having
Mhm.
family meetings,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And that's what I stress as well as I call this thing what I call financial date nights. And it just started with
Like
couples
that.
primarily, but it's really to get together. It's like, what is the state of affairs of where we are, where we with our budget, where we are with our goals, what happened this month. It's kind of a state of the union thing. And I said,
Mhm.
make it fun, you get a wine and cheese and, do what you need to, but
Like that, a
you're
charcuterie
focusing in
table.
on your finances just during that particular point in time. So I call them financial date nights. Even if I work with a lot of single females, you're gonna do the date night on your own. You do the same thing. And maybe reward yourself with a spa afterwards, or a spa bath or something. But you're focusing
Sparkling
in
wine
on
and a spa. I love it. And yeah, let's talk about finances while we're at it.
Yeah, and let's talk about finances while we're at it. But that's a way to, like you said, normalize the conversations because it's been taboo, so taboo in our families, on talking about money or how much somebody makes, and we just don't want to deal with it, so we don't, and so that's why the conversations never come up as well. And to what you were talking about before, I was thinking about when I speak with people sometimes is that you know historically, if you kind of go through waiting and waiting and waiting, if you
Right.
came to me 20 years from ago, you have this many options. If you wait, the options narrow down and you don't have as many. And I'm sure, same thing with estate planning. If you came to me when you wanted, you had these options, but now you only have these three or whatever. And so really knowing that and taking action before things get bad or before I have to retire and I want to retire in 3 years and but I never really looked at this. Now I need somebody. And I was like, well, now the options may be less and we have to work with something different for that versus if you came to me a little bit earlier. So if we're having these open conversations a little bit earlier and more frequent, then I think that would normalize the conversation and have people really know where to seek for guidance and ask for it a little bit earlier as well.
Excellent, excellent advice. As we're now at the top of the hour, do you have any events or any webinars coming up? I'm going to put your information and, of course, a disclaimer as well
Yes,
on
exactly.
the screen. Yeah, we attorneys have it as well. But if you have anything coming up, please share.
Yes, I have next Tuesday, which is July 20th. I have it's called Money Talks. It's what they call it, the financial literacy primer, 7:30 to 8:30. Actually, if people want to, I was trying to figure out the Bitly, but never mind. If you go to my business page on Facebook, it's at Jackson Sam's Wealth on Facebook and IG, and so I'm posting the event there, so people can follow me, and of course I'll update that, and they can sign up for the Eventbrite because it's through Eventbrite, but it is sponsored by Ladies Who Wine and Room for Us, I believe. Ladies Who Wine Design, yeah, and Room for Us, and it's an excellent. Both of them are excellent organizations, and they approached me to do a financial literacy primer for their members, and so they're inviting other people to come take advantage of that as well.
I love that. And I put your contact information on the screen for everybody who wants to get in contact with Pamela Jackson Sams. There's her email, phone
Mhm.
number, and her website. She's told you about an upcoming event. Pamela Jackson Sams, thank you, thank you, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being a guest, bringing all that good information to empower women
Yes.
within the sound of our voices. We have to do it two by two. We're going to empower women to change and change a
Yes, exactly.
generation.
Yeah, we have to. That's our mission.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you again for being such a wonderful guest. I'm sure this won't be the last time that we do something together, but be well and much success. I wish you much success in your practice and in everything you do. Thank you so much. And I'll
Yeah,
talk to you soon.
yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for having me, and I enjoyed it. And definitely we'll be in touch and do other activities together.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Have a great day.
Okay, take care.
Everybody, that was Pamela Jackson Sams. Wasn't she amazing? Um, and again, you saw that there's always that intersection between in financial advisory world and estate planning. They really do go hand in hand, and that's why I try to bring you people who are experts in their field. You heard that she just has a passion for educating and empowering women and really aligns with the mission not only of my firm, but the mission of the show. And I hope you appreciate that. Just as a reminder, if you need wills and estate planning advice and even estate administration and probate assistance, I want you to reach out, contact us at the law offices of Elsa W. Smith. And I'm going to put my contact information on the screen, 410-995-7719. We're licensed in Maryland and the District of Columbia. Feel free to visit my website at elsawsmithlaw.com and follow us on social media at Elsa W. Smith Law. And before I wrap up, I did want to remind everybody about the ongoing free webinar that we have. You know, how to put your mask on first, estate planning for today's woman. You can register on the homepage of our website at elsawsmithlaw.com. There is a special offer for all attendees. It is a limited time offer, so I encourage you to register. It's just a few minutes of your time, but you're going to walk away with a lot of good information regarding estate plan and really just how to start the process in protecting yourself, your family, and your business. So, how to put your mask on first, estate planning for today's woman. I am Elsa W. Smith, the host of Women Winning Wednesdays, saying thank you so much for joining us this week, and I will see you next week. Take care, everybody.